Yep. Yep. Hey, everybody. Welcome to Post Preps Game Day. I'm Post Preps editor Kyle Newman, live here at our raucous Eaglecrest High School ahead of the Class 5A football quarterfinals tomorrow. Eaglecrest taking on Cherry Creek, 1 p.m. Legacy Stadium. Stream that game live via Post Preps Radio. And for right now, I'm here with head coach Mike Schmitt and senior quarterback, defensive back Jalen Mergerson. Coach, big one tomorrow. And hey, you were here last season, 11-0, lost to Regis in the quarters. So the big question is this team ready for its close-up against a very storied Cherry Creek program?
I think anytime you play against a team like Cherry Creek that is storied, it kind of humbles you a little bit in the sense of that. I think last year we were kind of on a crazy ride going undefeated, but this year we had a lot of those guys back. They have a different mindset from the get-go, and their confidence level was different, and their goals are a little different. So I think we're a lot better prepared mentally, and physically we've been ready all year.
Again, folks, that game 1 p.m. Saturday, Legacy Stadium. Listen live via Post Preps Radio at denverpost.com/preps. And we'll also have some coverage of the Friday night games, and we'll be talking about those other 3 games here shortly. But Jalen, looking ahead to this Cherry Creek matchup, they're very good defensively, also got some talent offensively with Padilla. So before we get to your quarterbacking, how do you stop the other quarterback from throwing to Marcus Miller, to Dimitri Stanley? A lot of weapons that you guys in that secondary got to cover.
Oh, we're definitely going to do a lot of different things with our defensive coverages. We're going to try to mix it up a little bit, try to confuse them a little bit, and we got to get after them up front. Our guys, we got like Keontae Christian. He's got to have a big day. He's got to get after the quarterback, along with we'll throw Reese in there for a heavy package, and he's going to have to get after him.
Yeah, and Elijah Anderson-Taylor,
yes,
also
sir.
key. And then offensively, you've got some weapons, to say the least. Victor Garnes, what I like to call a nuclear weapon, because, I mean, basketball, football, doesn't matter. Kid can spread the field at any time. Kenny Wantings, seems the list goes on and on. How are these guys ready, like I was asking Coach, for this test that is the Cherry Creek defense?
These guys, we got to put them in a lot of different situations. We got to spread them out. We got to be able to run the ball. We got to lean on our O-line. Then we got to be able to attack them vertically and just take what the defense gives us.
Again, folks, Kyle Newman alongside Mike Schmitt and Jalen Mergerson here at Eaglecrest High School. Thanks to Vince Orlando, AD, for setting all this up. Strength in numbers is their athletic department motto, and you see it out here in full force today. Already a ton of fall success. Davis Bryant winning the state championship in golf. Softball making another Final Four run, and now Eaglecrest football in the midst of the 3rd undefeated season in school history, also 1993 when they won the state championship. So, Coach, what does it mean? I mean, you're in the golden era here of Eaglecrest football. You haven't won the title yet, but this is as good as the program has been ever, basically. Do these people realize it? Do you realize it? How do you kind of appreciate the moment, even as you're trying to win this game tomorrow?
I think anytime, the job of a high school is not to win football games. I really believe that. I think I became a teacher to help kids, and our coaching staff has a lot of teachers, and that gets lost sometimes in all the hoopla, right?
Right.
But the reality is, we're just trying to help our kids be the best they can be. We're trying to help their parents, help our community. And so as our football team has grown and gotten better, so has the community. And football it's the first big sport of the year. Yep. So I think it does resonate across our whole program, our whole community, and it really has been positive. So, yes, I think everybody's excited. The games are great. We have great kids like Jalen across the board on our guys, man. Yeah. And so it just really has brought excitement to the Eaglecrest community, and I think that's the biggest key.
And you mentioned that community aspect so big in Colorado high school football and high school football anywhere. And I know you guys lost one of your community. Coach Armando
Absolutely.
Rodriguez passed away unexpectedly from a heart attack before the playoffs started. How has that brought this team together, maybe provided some perspective, and maybe what can you say about Coach Rodriguez and what kind of coach and guy he was?
Well, there's a lot of, we've had some tragedy come to our school the last few years. We've had this is our 3rd player in the last 5 years that has lost a parent. And through all of that, with leadership from our older guys, we've been able to really come together as a team and really just propel and get better. It has never been a hindrance. It's been more of a builder for us.
Right.
So about really 6 years ago, we started doing a community aeration project. And Armando was the biggest key to that, and Jalen can attest to that. He's out there driving the tractors and bringing the trailers around, and he was a father during all that time, just a volunteer. And then after his son graduated, Armando Jr. is up at Doane playing ball. He decided that he wanted to coach, and we were welcome to have him. So he has been a part of this program. He helped us through those other difficult losses. And so it was great that our family could just turn around and help him and his family. Yeah. And that's where it's been for us.
Yeah, again, folks, here with Mike Schmitt, Jalen Mergerson, previewing the Eaglecrest Cherry Creek game Saturday, 1 p.m. Legacy Stadium. As you heard from Coach Schmitt, the Raptors playing for a little more than just football. Coach Rodriguez and his family, and just the whole Eaglecrest community behind that family as well. And before we preview the other games, I want to get to a few more keys with you, Jalen, about Cherry Creek. We mentioned Marcus Miller, Demetrius Stanley, Alex Padilla. They also got Alec Pell. They got Dom Pilato on the offensive line. When you look on film, offensively and defensively, what are the main strengths of this Cherry Creek team, and how do you stop them?
I think the biggest thing with them is their offense is we have to be physical up front. They got a lot of big guys, a lot of guys that like to go downhill. We're going to have to stop the run and force them to throw the ball where our athletes can make plays. And then defensively, they're very strong up front also. We got to be able to attack them, attack the edges and set the edge so we can loosen them up and then run it up the middle.
Again, folks, stream that game live Saturday, 1 p.m. Legacy Stadium via Post Preps Radio, denverpost.com/preps. And moving on to the other 5A quarterfinal games, Valor Grandview, 7 p.m. At Valor Stadium. That's Friday. Fairview Pomona, 7 p.m. at the NAC. Regis Columbine, 7 p.m. at Jeffco. All three of those games on Friday night. You can stream the Pomona and Fairview game on Friday night via Post Preps Radio at denverpost.com/preps. So, Coach, I'll start off with you with top of the bracket, Valor Grandview. You played Grandview earlier.
Absolutely.
How do they stop this seemingly juggernaut Valor Christian team that has just been rolling all season?
That's a good question. I think, Valor does such a good job with utilizing all of their skilled guys and utilizing everybody.
In different ways,
In different ways.
As we've seen
and
with
that's what's
McCaffrey and
beautiful.
Sindstrom at quarterback.
Absolutely. Yeah. So, Grandview is an aggressive style defense. They're going to get up in your grill. So the question to me is, can Valor handle the pressure that Grandview's going to put on them? They got the skilled guys and all that. If the Grandview secondary can hold up and a lot of their man coverages that they like to run, I think that they'll be all right defensively. And offensively, Grandview's a ground and pound. They're going to hit you in the mouth, and they got a great receiver in the Gentry guys. So I really feel like if they can really be that physical brand of Grandview football that we've come to know and not necessarily love but respect.
Right.
I think they have an opportunity to really do a great job.
Well, and Jalen, I know you got a ton of respect for those Grandview guys, but you've had their number 2 years in a row after they had your number for several years before that. But what do you like out of Gunnar Gentry, Jordan Billingsley, that Grandview team to maybe get rolling here and get an upset win against Valor?
It seems like every time you have them bottled up, you think you're going to roll against them, they make a big play. And those guys allow them to do that. Up front, they're really physical, and defensively they cause a lot of turnovers. So if they're able to take care of the ball and get takeaways, they really have a shot at doing something that a lot of people don't think they can do.
Valor Grandview, 7 p.m. Friday night. That's tonight at Valor Christian High School. I like Coach Schultz's squad to come out, put up a fight. I just do think Coach Sherman's squad, too talented. Josiah Davis, I think, is going to have a night, even against a very physical Grandview defense. I got Valor Christian by 7. Moving on to the next quarterfinal game, Fairview Pomona. That is tonight, 7 p.m. at the NAC. Stream that live via Post Preps Radio. Coach, what do you like in this matchup? Pomona, very physical. They got Ryan Marcus back. But then Fairview, man, they can air it out. And then they also got Mariano Kemp on the ground, too, to go to.
Well, we've had the pleasure of playing Fairview a few different times in some 7-on-7 tournaments. And so I think Coach McCartney's just a real intelligent guy when it comes to the passing game. And they got that bruiser of a runner. So, I think they'll be able to move the ball some on Pomona. But, Pomona has such great athletes back there and what they can do, the Borgie, and like you said, the quarterback guys back. And they have some others unsung heroes, the receiver and all those. So I think it really is going to be a game about defense and turnovers, just like we kind of talked about with Valor. I really see that game coming down to, who can stop the other opponent, because I think both offenses are pretty dang high-powered.
Yeah, so Jalen, they got Billy Pospisil out there at wide out, Max Borghi, as you mentioned, of course, going to Washington State. I'm sure you've seen these guys on film and maybe even in person. What do you like about that Pomona offense? And would you like to be at the controls of that? It seems like a lot of similarities between you and Pomona with the amount of playmakers.
I think with those guys, it's about you have to find different ways to attack them, try to stop them, because if you try to settle in, then they're going to start hurting you. They're going to make adjustments, and they just got athletes. Borghi just seems to be a freak. It's hard to stop him. We've seen him on film a couple times, and they're able to air it out after they rely on their run game to try to tighten you up, try to stop the run. Then they'll just throw the ball at Marquez. He's a great quarterback.
Yep.
He can find zones. He does a lot of good things.
Yeah, Marcus playing a senior, playing for a trip to his third straight title game. It'd be an impressive feat if he can do it. I think Pomona takes one step closer to a semifinal rematch with Valor tonight. I like them by a touchdown against Fairview, but don't count out Tom McCartney's squad. Always very tough up there. And then, of course, the final semifinal game tonight, Regis Columbine, 7 p.m. at Jeffco Stadium. And, Coach, I'll start off with you on this one. Andy Lowry, ball control offense, how do you stop that? And just, I guess if you're Regis, how do you get those opportunities for Justin Lamb and co to make plays?
About 3 or 4 years ago when Jalen was a sophomore, I believe, we started scrimmaging in the spring with Columbine for that exact reason, because we had some trouble stopping those high-powered physical football teams that can really hammer the ball. And you know what? You got to be tough. You got to put a lot of guys at the line of scrimmage, and you got to make sure your gap integrity is solid. And you got to really make sure that you have option responsibility, because he'll pull that midline out. Next thing you know, the quarterback's off taking. And the hardest part about all of it is then the secondary has to focus on those tight ends, because the second they pop it out and he pulls back and he throws the ball to tight end, they're usually wide open. So to stop that offense is not an easy task. You got to put a lot of guys at the line of scrimmage. Regis has some great defensive coaches and great players.
Yeah.
So I do think that they'll have that opportunity. And you're going to get limited touches on offense, so you got to make the most of them. And I know that Regis has a great offensive scheme, and they'll do a good job of that also.
Yeah, Danny Philman doing a great job over there. And Jalen, Coach mentioned the great defenders on Regis's defense. Jake Heimlicher on the defensive line, always forcing sacks, havoc in the backfield. Tama Tuatelli in the linebacker slot. From what you've seen of them, maybe on film or in 7-on-7s, how do you get to them? How do you avoid that rush and then kind of try and find your gaps downfield?
It's definitely difficult. It's definitely difficult to do, because they're so good and they're just good players up front, and they get after you. You got to be able to do it. You got to just take what they give you. You got to be able to throw the ball out quick and just be willing to do that all game. That's the biggest thing. You got to be able to check out of things. When you see something, we have a lot of checks installed, and that's what hurt them early. Then they made adjustments. So you just got to be flexible with their defense, because they'll do a lot of things, and they'll get after you. And I think Columbine's offense it's going to be tough to stop because of what they do. It's so different than what you usually think of.
Yep.
But I think Regis can get it done.
So Jalen likes Regis, but I think I'm going to take Columbine in this one. I got Columbine by a field goal. I think Connor Snow, Ted Mullen, and co. are going to get it done, along with that huge offensive line headlined by Andrew Gentry up front. Again, that game 7 p.m. tonight at Jeffco Stadium, Regis and Columbine. So before I predict your guys' game, I just want one final key from each of you. We'll start with you, Jalen. How do you come out with the energy, with the emotion you need to go 12-0 and into the semifinals next week?
I think it's not about getting too high or too low. We always talk about that, keeping an even keel, just focus on our job and focus on us. It's not about, yes, it's a big game. Yes, there's going to be a lot of people. It's Creek. Yep. It's the quarterfinals, but it's just keeping it focused and having that confidence about ourselves that we're going to get the job done. And Coach always talks about having that subtle confidence in ourselves, but not arrogance. Even though we're 11-0, we can't focus on that. We just got to focus on getting our job done, and then we'll be able to take the next step.
Yeah, because you've been 11-0 before,
yes,
and
sir.
You probably remember that feeling. Like you said, jumping out early on Regis last year, couldn't finish it, but now another opportunity right in front. Coach, any final words?
I think Jalen nailed it on the head. We've been talking about it. It's confidence, humility. having the confidence because of the work that we've earned the confidence because of the work that we've put in for the last 2 years. And we have to have the humility to understand that just because we've worked hard don't mean we're going to get what we want. We got to go make sure we do our job. And so I think our boys understand that. I know Jalen does, and I know he's reiterated that to our rest of our team. So we're just excited to have the opportunity to go play on a Saturday afternoon. Hopefully it'll be beautiful weather, and we'll just go see what happens.
Again, folks, Saturday, 1 p.m., Legacy Stadium, Eaglecrest Cherry Creek in the Class 5A quarterfinals on Post Preps Radio. And I think it's going to be a great battle between Coach Schmitt and his team, Coach Dave Logan, all that prestige at Cherry Creek. But you know what? There's a lot of hype out here today. There's a lot of momentum right here. I think I like Eaglecrest by a field goal. Theron Sandoval Jimenez in overtime to win it for the Raptors and book a semifinal showing. So I got your team tomorrow night. Again, folks, tune in 1 p.m. Saturday on Post Preps Radio. I'm Denver Post Preps editor Kyle Newman alongside Mike Schmitt and Jalen Mergerson live from Eaglecrest High School. Thanks for watching in, and we'll see you next week.